Om. 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 Today we are studying chapter 2, Bhagavad Gita, Sankhya Yoga. Here he introduces the self Atman. So Sankhya, the word Sankhya has got several meanings. First meaning is Sankhya means union, combination. Second meaning is Sankhya is theory. Third one is Sankhya is inquiry, logical philosophy. That is the word meaning that this chapter has taken. The truth is indicated here in a logical step-by-step fashion. Yoga means practice. Many times theory alone is not enough. You have to have the practice too, along with that. Now, chapter 2 has got 72 verses. Chapter 2 and chapter 18 are the longest. Chapter 2 is the introduction to the entire Gita from chapter 3 to chapter 17. So it is the longest one. So anytime when we do speaking, public speaking, you say what you are going to say. Say, I'm going to talk about climate change or something. You introduce the subject, then say it. Then you give a summary of say what you said. So that's exactly what Krishna is following that, and we are following Krishna's methodology. So chapter 2 is what I'm going to say. Chapter 3 to 17 is he's going to say it. And chapter 18 is what I said. Now, Bhagavad Gita is divided into 3 sections. 1 through 6 is chapters 1 to 3. It's called Shatkatriya. That means every 6th chapter is one section. 1 to 6 is Jiva Swarupa, individual, about individual beings, all of us. You, me, and that is referred to as Tvam Pada Vichara. Then 7 to 12 is Supreme, Tat Pada Vichara, the divine. Who is God? Where is God? Then 13 to 18, last 6th chapter is Jiva Brahma Aikyam. The Atman and Brahman are one and the same. So that's the introduction. Now, we have seen that Sanjay, when Arjuna was in depression and he doesn't want to fight anymore in chapter 1, that's where he left. With his Sanjaya, the charioteer, he is describing to the blind Dhritarashtra with his divine vision. Arjuna's chariot, he's saying Arjuna's chariot is in the middle, he is between the two armies. Arjuna is completely enveloped by his love and attachment to his teachers and grandfather, who are standing on the opposite side, and he is in tears. So Krishna speaks to Arjuna in verse 2 and 3 as a friend. Why are you so depressed at this time of crisis, critical situation? Had you ever mentioned it earlier, we could have discussed it earlier and talked about it. Right now, both armies are ready to start the war. As a warrior, this behavior is not going to give you any honor. That's as a friend he's saying. Verse number 3, he's saying he's using a specific word. Anything that is in Mahabharata is in this universe that you can see today, and anything that is not here is not in Mahabharata. Everything is covered in Mahabharata. The word is klaibyam. There's a one word called klaibyam in verse number 3. Klaibyam is neither do you behave like a man nor a woman. That means transgender, non-binary. See, we talk about all those today, but it was there even those Dwapara Yuga, when Krishna was there. So he's saying you are a warrior prince. Get up, get out of this situation, mental agitation, get ready to fight. Krishna did not refer or address to anything that Arjuna had mentioned in earlier, that I'm not going to fight, it's not worth it, and all those things he was mentioning. He was giving excuses. Now, verse 4 and 6, Arjuna speaks, says, Bhishma and Drona, they raised me. They showered their love on me. Drona taught me archery. Bhishma taught me morals and values and virtues. I have no problem killing enemies, but these are my teachers, my family members. How can I kill my own grandfather? How can I kill my teacher who taught me how to use the bow and arrow? So verse 5 is saying, it's better I just leave. This ego dissolves. He now says, is it right to kill them? Should we kill them or should they kill me? Is it my duty to kill them? I don't understand. I'm confused. I don't know what to do. In verse 7 is important in Bhagavad Gita. That is where Arjuna surrenders to Krishna. I am your student, disciple. You please guide me. What should I do? What is the right thing to do? I don't know what to do. What is right? What is wrong? This, this is the important quality of a disciple, the humility. Only when we recognize that I don't know and I accept I don't know, I need help, we will ask for help. Otherwise, we will pay, only then we will pay full attention to what is being said. A willingness to listen attentively and single pointed focus. We can see that with our children, teenagers, you say something and they just say, okay. They are not fully paying attention because there's no trust there at that point. So Arjuna says, I am prepared to follow your direction. You are my guide, friend, and philosopher. Tell me what I should do. Only when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Even amidst a noisy warfront, commotion, and chaos. We all face different situations in life as to what to do. Should I do this or should I not do that? At that time, you will get the answers. So verse 8, he's saying, Arjuna realizes that nothing that I possess can remove my sorrow, my sadness that I experience. As long as we consider that the worldly attachments, accomplishments, name, fame, power, position, power, people around me are my security, so long we are going to chase them. I will be happy when I have this much wealth, position, or power. Our pursuit will be directed towards those. This statement should not be misconstrued. Scriptures does not say do not pursue anything, but enjoy everything, explore your potential with a constant thought that nothing is permanent and none of them would give me complete happiness. All these are ephemeral, temporal pleasures. So do not get elated or arrogant with pride, and do not get depressed when something is lost. Enjoy what you have when you have. Sooner or later, it will not be yours. It will be gone. Oftentimes, humans do not know what they really want in life. We do not know what gives us complete, sustained contentment. That is why it's called a rat race. Just like if you can see a rat running around here and there without any destination, that's what we are doing. Eating, sleeping, attending a wedding, attending a funeral, and then again eating, sleeping. We are doing the same thing for 60, 70, 80, and 100 years. Satisfaction is content. There is a difference between satisfaction and contentment. Contentment, whatever happens in my life, I'm not perturbed, I'm not disturbed. I'm in peace at all times. Verse 7 to 9 shows how a strong Prince Arjuna is now transformed to a common man, a disciple seeking for divine guidance. So verse 11, Gita starts. This is where Gita starts. This is where Krishna starts speaking as a guru. So, and, because in verse number 10, Krishna starts with a kind of smile. Okay, now you are coming back to me. Because we do that with our children, children do something, do you need help? No, I can do it myself. After half an hour, 1 hour, they'll say, Mommy, I think I need help. They'll come back to us. At that time, oh, I knew you are going to come back to me. We say that, right? That kind of smile Krishna gives in verse 10. Verse 11, that's because ego will not allow us to ask for help. Intellect always likes to be challenged. So Chapter 2, 1 to 10 summary is again the same story. Vedanta is the inquiry path of Supreme. It is the end portion of Vedas, that is Veda, Upanishad. Inquiry is in the form of Guru Sishya. In all scriptures in Sanatana Dharma, they are in the form of Samvada. Samvada means Guru and Sishya. It's not like I tell you, you obey. I'm going to share it with you. If you have questions, ask. So clarify it. You get clarified, you get convinced yourself. It is a do-it-yourself program. It's not that I say and you obey kind of thing. So this is a text that helps the seeker to know the Supreme. Some may think, why do we need these stories? What is the purpose? I am in the path of inquiry, jnana yoga, help me, let's go direct. The purpose of this story is to bring together the disciple and the guru, the context under which the Gita was given, under which Krishna talked to Arjuna. Some may ask that who were others standing, what were they doing when these two were talking? That's all immaterial. Arjuna stood in a place called no man's land. According to law of war, one cannot fight from there. It is not my property, it is not your property, it is right in the middle. Lord Krishna verbalized in that place. To understand, the second point is to understand the mindset of the disciple. Before giving any advice, we want to see whether they are in a position to listen to us. We can't keep on advising people. So listen attentively and then you give suggestions. We can all relate to that, to Arjuna. So Arjuna is representing the entire humanity. Some people did Krishna mentioned only or instruct only Arjuna. Simple, because he asked for it. He would have given it to anybody who asked for it, whether it was Saguni or Duryodhana, but nobody asked him except Arjuna. So the self-knowledge is to be given only to those who ask for it. Ask and you shall receive. Knock and the door will be open. He who seeks finds it. So otherwise we will only have a crowd who are inattentive, right? So voluntary advice, suggestions won't work because the receiver is not inclined to listen and there is no interest or readiness to accept, to understand. So there's no point in having an uninterested crowd. Those who learn, they learn for their own benefit. Arjuna and Krishna were friends, they are cousins, mother's brother's son, they are cousins, but Krishna never mentioned this topic until Arjuna asked. In verse 7, Arjuna asked, and verse 11, Krishna is starting advice. This story also refers to about the guru, what kind of guru one should approach. There are 2 points, Sotranyan and Brahmanishta, that is Parampara Guru, should have studied the scriptures under a guru, whose guru was a disciple, whose guru, 3-generational guru should be there. So in order to avoid any personal opinions added to the topics, rather than focus on the scriptures, right? That is Sotranyan. Krishna as an avatar was in Gurukula. His guru was Sandipani. Guru's life should depict, second point is, Guru's life should depict what he teaches, not a preacher. That one is called Brahmanishta. So the 3 benefits of story is, first one is Guru-Shishya relation, disciple's mindset, what kind of Guru. The 4th benefit is saying Vedanta scriptures must be listened to and not read to understand. It's not wrong to read it, but won't understand anything that is the intended meaning. Not understanding is better than misunderstanding. So, because you get to have a lot of preconceived notions. Every Sanskrit word has got more than 40 meanings, 40 to 50 meanings. So you may put different meaning based on your understanding of the meaning of the word. So now the guru needs to erase all those things and then refill it. When the student is blank, it is easier to convey. That is why those days we had Gurukula, the children are like wet clay. So you give the good information right off the bat, right away, then they get it. So it is a responsibility of the parents nowadays to make sure that they understand the right things, because we don't have Gurukula. One who has no knowledge of scriptures is an ideal candidate, they say, Uttama Adhikari. It is difficult to erase the preconceived notion because, like driving in the USA, it's kept to the right, whereas in India it is kept to left. If you drive there for 20 years and then come here, it's very challenging. You will make a left turn on red here, so which could cause accident. So always to unlearn and relearn is a challenge. So one can chant, read, but listening should be predominant, primary. Listen, grasp, understand, and then read. So chapter 2 is the gist of entire Gita. Gita starts from chapter 2.11, and now we go to 2.11. Now we know where Arjuna is. So in verse 7, Arjuna was in a state of confusion and panic, unable to make a decision as to how to respond to the situation. He was engulfed by attachment, sorrow, and delusion. He was overpowered by the negative emotions towards his duty and requests Krishna to guide him. So Shreyas, he uses the word Shreyas in 2.7, that is good for me. There is the two words Shreyas and Preyas. Preyas is for pleasure. Pleasure. Whatever gives me pleasure is Preyas. Whatever is good for me is Shreyas. So for my welfare. So Arjuna is a representation of the entire humanity. I am your disciple. I surrender unto you. All problems, challenges that we experience is all because of moha, just like Arjuna, delusion, not knowing things as is. All sorrows and all pains are due to not recognizing the true self, one's own true self. Krishna starts in verse 11. You are grieving for something that is not worth grieving. Don't don't we always say when a child breaks a balloon burst and the child will start crying? Then we say, don't cry, it's only a balloon that burst. We say that, but we as adults, we don't follow that. Sometimes when we lose somebody, then we are in struggle. We don't take it that in that sense. We become jnani when we advise to others. So oftentimes, so we want to watch our own thoughts. So we grieve when a person has departed and when we lose something. But a realized person does not grieve for the dead or for the ones who are alive. Krishna uses few words. You are grieving for something that is not worth grieving. Asocyan. That means not worth grieving. Pragyan vadamcha bhasase. You speak like a jnani. You speak as though you know everything. My mother sometimes used to tell me when I was in school days, I would say something and say, you speak like a jnani, as though you know everything. So teenagers do that all the time. You can see that. So I always reflect my life and then I get back the information, experiences. So Gadasun, Agadasun, those who are dead, those who are alive. Realized ones do not grieve for the dead or alive. This needs to be extended. We grieve about the past events, occurrences, or worry and grieve about what if this happens, what if that happens. In fact, last night I was thinking, what if I'm completely in bedridden? Who is going to take care of me? For a minute, I got that thought. What if? What if? Then I said, forget it. Whatever happens, happens. We all think about the past and worry and feel guilty for not doing certain things, or we always think about the future. The realized ones, jnanis, do not grieve. This is the statement that we need to analyze it now. So here, Krishna says, jnani or the realized ones do not grieve. Refers to ignorance, ajnanis grieve. First statement is realized ones does not grieve. Second one is ignorance grieve, right? Now, third statement is if so, what is the cause of grief? Ignorance. Now, the fourth question is ignorant or ignorance of what? There are so many things in this universe that we are ignorant of. So, I am the one who is grieving. I am ignorant. Ignorance is of not knowing who I am, self-knowledge. I don't know who I am, what I want in me in this life. I keep chasing everything like a dog chasing its own tail. Humans use the term I several times. There was a telephone company who did research on that. The most used word is I, but we do not know who that I is. We all have different eyes. We think about our own body, our own name, accomplishments, everything. We have experienced and experiencing so many problems, suffering, struggles, strides, but we never thought or we never paused to think that not knowing who I am is the cause of my challenges. Now, what is the connection between ignorance of Atma and struggles? How can not knowing who am I could be the cause of my struggles? How does it make sense when Krishna says ignorance of self is the cause of all your sufferings? Arjuna is in suffering in chapter 1. As far as Krishna is concerned, not knowing the self is the cause of sorrow and grief. But Arjuna would say it's the Bhishma and Drona's death is my cause. Oftentimes we are in grief because of someone else's death in our family, not knowing what we want, not having a job or position, or offensive words by others to us. So how can it be that not knowing the self is the cause of all sorrows and sufferings? Let's say he's giving an example. One person is, we wake up in the morning and then have a cup of coffee, we turn on the TV, we're watching this show. And what do we see oftentimes on TV, we get all the negative news, right? So he's saying the train that is passing through your city had a mishap accident, derailed, and 175 people died. Now, that person who is watching the TV is shocked. Oh my God, I'm sorry, so many children, family members have lost their things. And then he just feels sorry for everyone. And then he blames the driver or the system and just feels sorry for the victim's family. And then after 5 minutes, he continues with his second coffee and then he goes on with his work, chores. After 3 hours, the door gets knocked. And there are two policemen. They are handing over the badge of his son. He said, your son was in the train and he passed away in the accident. Here is a badge. Please come and claim your body. Now, is that a news now? The news when 175 people died, it was a news. But now this one person's death caused him a sorrow. Thus, we can conclude that there is something beyond death, beyond that incident that is causing the sorrow. If death alone is the cause of sorrow, he should have felt that sorrow when he heard 175 people died. That didn't happen. That doesn't happen, right? Because we see people dying every day. We cannot be and we are not always in sorrow. The inference is that death is not the cause of sorrow, but the connection that we have with this body, with that body, that is the cause of sorrow. Whenever there is I and mine are there, any and all profit and loss of that, pleasure or pain, they cause us sorrow. Arjuna said, they are my people, they are my teachers who taught me archery. They are that is my grandfather. We can see the strong I and mine. If a robbery happens in my neighbor's house, oh my God, poor thing, they lost it. But when it happens in my house, then it affects us, right? If a death happens in 4 buildings down the lane, then you feel sorry. But when it happens in our own home, then it becomes sorrow. And nowadays, job loss. We hear job loss everywhere. People lose jobs. When it happens to me or my son or my daughter, then we are affected. We feel sorrow. So all those until then, it's all news. So therefore, the cause of suffering are not knowing the exact meaning of I. What we say I and mine needs to be analyzed, inquired into. None of those are you or yours, says that you claim, says Krishna. None of those you. To be honest, we all come naked and we go naked. Right? Even somebody has to put on the cloth. So when I shed this body, all the possessions that I think are mine, none of them will come with me. Even the name will be gone. It's no longer Vijaya, it is body. So I don't own anything. That I and mine is the ego. Holding on to that I and mine, no one can overcome the sorrow. That is the gist of Gita. Whenever you say I and mine, know who that I is. That is what Gita is all about. Know thyself. I am that I am. Tvat Tattvam Asi. You are that. You are that divine. This Gita is not only for Arjuna, but for the entire humanity. This is from Shankara Bhashya. If it is just for Arjuna, he could have done it in 2-3 verses. He doesn't need to give 700 verses. Nor we are not going to read it, and we are not grieving for Bhishma Drona's body also, right? So this is a medicine for sorrow, dukkha nivritti for the entire humanity. We humans do not really know what we want in life. Time flies without any meaningful purpose. Looking back, what have we achieved? Now, we keep buying, holding, stocking things, looking for happiness in everything around us, which we already are, but we do not know. Now, Arjuna's mind was in deep sorrow. Whenever a person is in deep sorrow, we should not talk spirituality. I remember 60 years ago, when I was a little girl, my father passed away and his body was lying there, and one of his friends came and said, Atma doesn't die, Ma. He's telling me I am 13, 14 years old. I don't understand what do you mean that? I can't talk to my dad. I can't play with him. And you're telling me all these things. So whenever any family is experiencing difficulty, challenges, loss, we don't want to go and talk about spirituality. You want to you want to share their emotion, show empathy. So focus to lessen. So Krishna is focusing to lessen Arjuna's emotion, deep sorrow. That mind is anxious, agitated, deluded, not in a position to listen or grasp spirituality. Arjuna is our representative. So let's take this as Krishna is directly talking to me, individual. So Krishna says every human, I is a combination of Atma and Anatma, self and non-self. So whenever we say I'm walking, I'm talking, I'm eating, we see, we hear, taste, smell, everything. So many things we understand, we grasp, acknowledge, all this information is grasped. Who grasps it? Who gets it? That is the self, the seer in you, in everybody. Everything else is seen. Aham, idam. That means I and this. Anything that you say this is not you. This body, you say, then that body is not you. So everything is seen. You seer alone is. So that seer is knowledge, Chetana Tattvam, Chaitanyam, Atma. And all the seen are Anatma. The concept of I goes up to this body. Beyond this body, everything is referred as mind. So Krishna asked 3 questions to Arjuna. Are you in sorrow because Bhishma Drona's Atma or self would die? Or are you sad because Bhishma Drona's body would die? Or are you in sorrow because what you do is adharma, unrighteous act? You think it is an unrighteous act. You don't need to worry about any of this. He's introducing self-knowledge here. If Arjuna responds that my most powerful weapon would kill their Atma, then is assuming, Krishna is assuming if he asks that question, if he says that way, then Krishna responds, no weapon can kill the self. Never was a time that you, me, and these kings were non-existent. There will never be a time that we will be non-existent. That is, we existed before this body, we will be there, we will continue to exist in this body and after the destruction of this body. There is no birth or death for the self. Every being is both self and non-self, Atma and Anatma. If you consider yourself as a self, then you have the inner presence, then you have no death. But if you associate with yourself, with your body, then you definitely have death and rebirth. So verse 13, he says, Since childhood, we are all thinking about we keep using the word I for so many years, but there is no change in that I. I was always present, is present. It will always be present. I is always continuous, present continuous, not was, not will be. Because otherwise you won't remember what happened when you were in 15 years old, right? So there's a continuity there. Physical body changes from a toddler to a teenager to an adult to a senior. Change is only for the body. The seer is the seer of the change. I am the seer of all these changes happening. So Arjuna, you don't have to worry about Bhishma Drona's body. Body has fixed modification, existence. It was in existence before our birth in parents' body. Existence, birth, growth, disease, decay, and death. This is standard for all bodies. I is the witness of all these changes. Changes can be seen only with reference to something that is stationary. Say there is a movie screen, we are watching a movie. Without that screen, there is no movie. The projection, nothing, you cannot see the light waves. There has to be a screen, right? Stationary screen. So same thing he's saying that there is something that is stationary. With reference to that, we see the world changing. So in verse 22, we are going back and forth now because of the continuity of the topic content. So verse 22 now, just like we change our clothes, say my shirt or top is torn or the color is faded, I throw it and then put on a different one. Same thing with the body. Arjuna, do not be sad about Bhishma Drona's death. Atma has no birth, no death. Just like the snake sheds its skin, Atma sheds this body. Atma uses this body as an outfit. I am different from my clothes. So do not feel sad or sorrow. All activities are performed by the body and mind, and they experience the consequences. Self Atma is mere witness, Sakshi. Atma is neither the doer nor the enjoyer. And it is the substratum. The self neither kills nor gets killed. Krishna talks about killing because Arjuna was in the war front. It is not applicable to any civilian. A civilian cannot go and shoot somebody and then say, this is Gita said so. There are debates. They say Gita is encouraging violence. That is a totally misunderstanding. Here, fight means it should be understood as you do your duty rather than kill. He was a warrior, so he said used to kill. But Atma, so Bhishma Drona's body performed the negativities, so they will face the consequences. If an incident causes a sorrow, it is because I and mine are there. That I is misplaced on the body, causing sorrow. Once self-knowledge is acquired, the situations will not change, but they will not be the cause of sorrow. At that point, everything around us becomes an event, occurrences, incidences. It was an incident, that's all. It was an occurrence, that's all. Initially, it could be scary, may even seem indifference, but it is a spiritual evolution. Krishna emphasizes that existence has no destruction at all. That which is has no non-existence. That which never exists has no existence. There are several examples he gives. Some appears to exist, and at the same time, that appearance has no location of existence. Mirage. You can see mirage in a desert. As you drive, you see there is water. Then you keep going and to get some water in your water bottle, but there is no water at all. It is just a desert. So that is an appearance of water in the sand, but it doesn't have any existence, right? That is one example. It is neither there nor not there. It appears and has no real existence. We can't quench our thirst. Second one, he gives us blue sky. Space has no color and appears to be blue and appears to have a curvature. Blue is due to diffraction of sunlight, even scientifically proved. We experience it, but it does not exist. Now we see all the aurora in the northern part of the world. There are multiple colors appearing, right? That is, they are all appearances. They don't have existence. Then Vedantic popular example is you look through a window at dusk and you see a coiled object. Immediately your thought is it's a snake. And then you raise your voice, oh my God, there's a snake right outside my door. And then you panic, the thought causes words immediately causes action. You take a stick and try to push it, or throw a bucket of water, or you take some action, maybe call animal control. Somebody in the family comes and turns on the porch light. And it is not a snake, it is the coiled rope. So because you didn't know coiled rope, you think it is a snake. So that's how the entire world is. The snake has no existence, but it was there, it gave you emotion, it gave you fear, but it has no existence. That's how sages and rishis, they view the world. That which exists, but has no real existence. Sat means ever existent, always present. Before the pot was made, the clay was there. As a pot, the clay is there. And when the pot breaks, the clay is there. That is ever existent. Asat means it is an appearance, appears to exist. So when English translation books, oftentimes they say real and unreal. Unreal is never exists. A child is not born with a horn. Unreal never exists. That is not a correct interpretation. Real exists, ever exists. Unreal never exists. Asat is an appearance. So Brahman alone is everywhere. Brahman appears to be different. It is referred as Asat, right? So Asat is an appearance. It has no locus of existence. It gives experiences like the snake. Scientists have also proved law of conservation of mass. Matter is neither can be created nor destroyed. It can only be converted. That whichever exists is Sat, existence. It is never non-existent. Whatever appears to exist has no existence. That is referred in Sanskrit as mithya. It is an appearance. Whatever is existence is never non-existence. That is what Satya means. Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. Jagat is an appearance. All of us are appearances. You appear to me, you are part of the world. For me, when I look at you, you are part of the world. Right? When you look at me, I am part of the world. The seer alone is. So no four weapons can destroy anything, especially the body, an axe, fire, wind, and water. But none of these can harm space. Similarly, they cannot harm Atma, which is subtler than space. Space is from Atma. So Arjuna, do your duty, fight, because a sword cannot cut it, fire cannot burn it, water cannot wet it, air cannot dry it. Arjuna, do not be sad. Bhishma Drona is ever existent. Their Atma is ever existence. All changes are only to the body-mind equipment. There is no birth and there is no death for the self, for the Atma. Self is indestructible. Just like we Jiva change our clothes, Atma changes this body. Self is the only truth, existence. Anything that appears to exist that is with a small e, is existence, capital E. Self is neither the doer nor the enjoyer. On the basis of Atma, self, you need not hesitate. You cannot see it, but you can only realize it. That's what. So don't worry about killing because Atma does not die. The second point he says is, if Arjuna says, I'm not thinking about their Atma, but I'm thinking about their body, that's what I love. We all do the same, right? So Krishna responds to that question. Verse 27, those who are born are bound to die. Those who are dead are bound to be born. This can never be changed by anyone. It is inevitable, would definitely happen, and there is no point in grieving. This statement does not refer to the death alone, but any incidences that happens in a day-to-day event at home. We interact with so many people, even with our own family members, on a day-to-day basis. Therefore, acceptance is a vital trait. We humans are often worried, afraid with the thought, I may suffer in the future, or the what ifs and what I am suffering now. These two thoughts are more powerful than actual suffering. That is why we rush to the astrologer. What is going to happen? Because we are still thinking about the what if. When we face a situation that is beyond our control, acceptance is the only option. If you have control over the situation, take control. If you don't have control, accept it. Because even in Rama Avatar, the prince was supposed to be crowned the next morning, and then next morning he was asked to go to the forest. Things can change in a flip second. And even Krishna had many enemies. There were many enemies who thought Krishna was an enemy. Krishna didn't have enemies, but others thought he was an enemy. So anything can happen in life especially when we are living with other people. We should be very, very careful in that. Accept the difference, expect it, right? Second point, that is my mother used to tell me when I was before my marriage. Expect the difference, accept the difference. My husband was from a village. I am from Bombay. Extremely different, 180 degrees. First 7 years, it took time for us. So she taught me that expect the difference, accept the difference. And so do not carry baggage. So second point he emphasizes is endurance, tolerance. First point is acceptance. Accept wholeheartedly. Then you bear it. Tolerate the situation, that is titiksha. Example, he gives an example, a small toddler, 2 years, 3 years old. You carry the kid for a vaccination to the clinic, right? The moment the child sees the building, will start crying because the child knows now they are going to give me a shot. Starts crying. When the shot is given at that time for 30 seconds, the child doesn't cry. But immediately after that shot is given, now they poked me. Now it happened to me. So also we always think, what is going to happen? Or it happened to me. I am suffering because it happened to me. It might have happened last year, 2 years, 5 years, but we still think about the past. So that's how we are unable to deal with situations that are inevitable, unavoidable. It can be at home, at work, with our health or family members. When we face unwanted, unchangeable situations, accept it. Non-resistance is the only way. So second point is tolerance. First is acceptance. We live with several people and each one have their own mind. Often we want others to do what we want them to do or what we think they should think. This is simply not possible. When we cannot change our own mind, how is it possible to change someone else's mind? Accept people as they are. When a jiva is in deathbed or someone is going through a tough time, or if our worry is going to help or save that person, we can worry about. But when that is not possible, the only thing is to accept. There is no remedy for the inevitable. In verse 28, death is not the end. It is more like a long sleep. In Vedanta, the waking state, dream state, and deep sleep state, all three states are called as Traisapnaha. We are all dreaming right now. And in this plane, it appears to be real. Beings that attain visibility is birth. Beings that lose visibility is death. Birth and death are not for the self. It is for the body. When the ego originates, we call that as birth. When the jiva dies, we call that as death. Death is not a destruction, Arjuna. Birth and death are only to the body, not to the self. Even the mind has no death. It moves to the next body. So, Arjuna, you have no reason to be in sorrow. Self, Atma, has no death, no destruction. Sthula Sharira, which is the gross body, Anatma is bound to die. It is inevitable. Whether you are part of it or not, all bodies are bound to disintegrate and decompose. It applies to the entire humanity. Just like we accept others' death, which is initially difficult, and we tend to accept, Krishna says we need to accept ours too. Visualize, I visualize my own death. I'm lying there. My family is around me. It can happen one day. We don't know when. There is no point in crying, thinking, whining about it. It will happen. And that scientifically they have proved it. That is the extreme fear of death is called thanatophobia, fear of death at the topmost. The third point Shankara says is, because I know one person in 1974, she lost her husband and she passed away in 2014. 1974 to 2014, every day she was thinking about her husband and crying. Every day. And every time I visit India, she will say, how are you managing? How are you managing? I'm not able to. Because the past is anudarshanam in Sanskrit. You recall the same thing. The person came, he lived with you, he's gone, it's a story, it's event, it's over. That's how we have to look, we have to see, because that is part of it. We cannot live in the past. We cannot live in the past. We have to move forward. So if Arjuna says, why should I be the one to harm Bhishma and Drona? Why not someone else? Krishna says, Bhishma Drona's body supported unrighteous act and they face the consequences. As a soldier, it is your duty, Swadharma, to fight against the wrongdoing. When the question is right or wrong arises, you don't need to worry because it is your primary duty to fight. When our loved ones make mistakes, unrighteous acts, it deludes us. See, for example, this I have used in other classes. If my neighbor's child comes here and misbehaves, I'll say the parents didn't raise the child well. When my child does this in my house, then I say, he's only 4 5 years old. In a couple of years, he'll get better. You see that? We judge others by their behavior and judge ourselves by our intentions. So Arjuna continues, if you sympathize with the wrong ones, all the countrymen would say you are a coward. You dropped out because of fear. Warriors are supposed to be brave. You reach the top of and the fall would be very steep. As we all go higher and higher, there are many eyes that are focusing on us. So we have to be the role model. As a parent, as a grandparent, as an employer, wherever role we are, people look up to us. So how I behave, how I talk, how I interact makes a big difference. So we all are in that situation. So we'll also, he's saying, you have reached the top and the fall will be very steep. You'll also face the consequences of inaction, not doing your duty by not fighting. So fight. Atma is ever present. Anatma is temporary. Dharma, righteousness, fighting is your swadharma. Krishna has here describes all actions to be performed with the karma yoga attitude. He introduces karma yoga in chapter 2, but it is elaborate in chapter 3. So only karma yoga purifies the mind, keeps the mind detached to be ready for self-realization. To understand self-realization, karma yoga is necessary, it is fundamental, it is basis. Karma means duties, yoga means practice. Krishna introduces karma yoga here. Karma yoga is not a separate activity because Krishna knows we are all busy, we don't have time. So he says, the attitude with which you perform all activities. We say work is worship. Do we really follow that? We say a lot of things, but we say Vasudhaiva Kudumbam. Do we follow that? Implementation is important. So any action you perform, do it. There are two options. Either you do it because you like it, or you do it with a karma yoga attitude. When you do it because you like it, you may or you may not get the desired result. But when you do with a karma yoga attitude, there is no failure. Definitely, without any doubt, undeniably, Karma Yoga gives a successful result. He talks about the glories of Karma Yoga. When one performs with this attitude, there is no failure in life. What needs to be done must be done. No ifs and buts. In Karma Kanda, earlier portion of the Vedas, rituals are prescribed like prayers, puja, meditation, worship, everything. Those must be performed in a specific prescribed manner, or else you get sin, papa. Like how many bricks needs to be used for any yoga, yajna, which direction you should see, how do you pour the ghee, all those things are prescribed. But performing the same rituals with karma yoga attitude nullifies all the sin, even when they are not done in a non-prescribed fashion. Even you perform karma yoga, even for one day, there is a proportionate benefit to it. Like nutrition, you are busy all day, you have no time to work, you eat your lunch. It happened to me several times at my work. What you do is you just take a banana and then you sustain for some, right? So I always carried almonds in my pockets because I never know when I go to work, I don't know when I will have my lunch. I always carried almonds. So that sustains. Similarly, karma, when you act with karma yoga attitude, every bit helps you. For example, if you build a building and then you have not put the roof, you have done everything else, foundation, rooms, walls, doors, but you have no roof, then it is not beneficial. All the effort that you have done is a waste. You cultivate, you sow the seeds, you water it, you plant it, grains come, but then you don't harvest it. It is a waste, right? All these efforts are waste. Say you want to chant 108 times Vishnu Sahasranam, then you stop at 100. You don't get the full benefit. In school, we do mathematics division, long division. We do halfway, and then the teacher doesn't give full mark for that or score because you have to complete it. But karma yoga, every effort has the benefit. There is no risk. So verse 41 to 44, the goal, the purpose of human life is not just for pleasures, enjoy, because there is a materialistic group. They say one life to live, eat, drink, and be merry. If that is the case, then you could have been an animal body too. You don't have a human body. There is something beyond having a human body to realize the true meaningful purpose of life, to attain divinity, to know the truth, attain contentment, the inner peace in this body here and now. You can call it moksha, nirvana, liberation, whatever you want. This is the dukkha nivritti, completely contented. And this can happen only in human life. So you are not disturbed by any situation. Whatever life throws at you, you are not disturbed. That is the situation that is dukkha nivritti sukha prapti. Now, Sankhya and Yoga, when one follows both theory and practice, the benefit is huge. For example, biking or swimming, whatever we do, or cooking, we need to do the theory. At the same time, we need the practice. For example, if I take cooking, you have the recipe for doing anything, right? But it does not tell you when to keep the stove at the low flame. It does not tell you when to flip it. It does not give you the details. So that is practice. So only theory and practice both are equally important. When focus and concentration go together, it leads to the end goal in day-to-day life. Focus is discipline to some degree, that is willpower. Concentration, thinking, listening attentively is another one. This applies to anything in any situation. So, verse 45, he says, Arjuna, rise above the perishable's attraction. Rise beyond duality. Remain firm in the self. Mind will go haywire. Be firm. Karma Kanda of Vedas, the earlier portion, speaks about all the perishables, worldly gains. If you do this puja, you will get that. You'll get health, you'll get wealth, you'll get job, you'll get things. Right now in India, there are several visa temples. If you want visa for America, you can go to this temple. If you want visa for Dubai, you go to that temple. That's all Karma Kanda. But here, Krishna says, go beyond all this duality. These are all temporary, ephemeral. 47 is important. In this verse, Krishna emphasizes you have the power to act, to perform, but you have no power to choose the results of your actions. No, you have no right. Before we do anything, we have full power, freedom to choose. That's why we are product of our choices. Should I do this? Should I not do it? How do I do it? The power to choose. When we want to talk to someone, we have, what can I say? How can I say this? What to say and what not to say? When to say and when not to say? Should I say it now or later? I remember my mother used to tell me also, my mother was a realist person. I learned a lot from her. She used to say, when your husband is leaving for work, don't tell him this, and this. On your way, you get this, get that. Because his mind is already planning. I have to take this, I have to take this. In fact, I think about it when I talk to my grandson and he goes to school. He has to take his computer, charger, he has got to take a math book and projects, whatever he has to take. If I keep talking to him, he will get distracted. He might forget something. So last 15 minutes just before they leave, whoever it is, man or woman, do not talk about anything else. Same thing when they come back. Don't immediately start saying, today we didn't get the electricity, we didn't have this problem, we didn't have water. Don't say anything because let them come. They are already with their mind full of what things. Come, let them come, let them eat, then they are settled. Then you discuss the other things. So it is important that we need to think before we speak. We have full freedom. But once the beans are spilled, it is difficult to reverse or put them back in the bag. So we can't take them back what we have said. The results of those words will come back to us. We have no options to say, but I don't want this. We cannot say, I don't want this result. We all have several duties, responsibilities, the power to act on them. These must be performed at all cost, but we have no right to the results of action. Every action has a corresponding reaction. But we humans often say, I don't do this to get that. What is in it for me? I've done it so that I get tax benefits, right? Our focus is on the end result, always achievement. But we have to focus on the process. Success and failure are in our mind. There is no success or failure because every action has an outcome. That's all. Success is what is a progressive realization of my own idea. I want to achieve this, I achieve it, then I call it success. If I don't achieve it, I call it failure, right? But there is no success per se. So how do we define them is based on our own expectation. In every activity, interaction, we expect a desired result. I will do this if I get that. He should behave like that. She should speak like this. These are all our expectations in life. That is not in our hands. I can be very disciplined, but that doesn't guarantee my health. So we can do our best. That's all. Karma Yoga's first aspect is I am doing my duty at the best of my abilities and I accept whatever comes to me. This is he is saying as Arpana Buddhi and Prasada Buddhi. As an offering, whatever I do, I'm offering. Whatever I get, I take it as a prasad. That is the significance of temple when we get, one day you go, you get vibhuti or, some sweet. Second day you get vibhuti. Third day you get only a piece of flower. Then you cannot ask, you give me that sweet that you gave me day before yesterday. Accept whatever you get, accept it as is. That is exactly what we have. Everything is a symbolism in our temple that we do. So we have to understand why we do that. So whatever comes in life, good or bad, accept it as a gift from God. No guilt, no anxiety. Right? So because there is when something is taken from you, something better is going to be given to you. That is why it is taken. We have to see that positivity. Okay? When one door closes, another door opens. They say something we will get it. So when you pray, you get what you want. All that you want, you get whatever you ask for. When the same action is performed with karma yoga and attitude, that purifies your mind and helps you leads you to self-realization. So Arjuna, do this duty as karma yoga without expecting. If the result is not in my hands, why should I even do it? Do anything? Arjuna asked, right? But we all think about it. If it's not going to give me, why should I do it? Not doing anything is never an option. When you rest, R-E-S-T, you rest, R-U-S-T. That is a point. Okay? Anyone who has taken the body has to act. Akarmani, verse 47, is not an option. A hunter can shoot an arrow at a bird or a tree or whatever. He has the right to choose what he wants to shoot at. But once the arrow leaves the bow, he has no control over it. He cannot arrest it. This is again from a personal experience. One of my colleagues, he was backing up his car from the garage, and he could not see his son, 4-year-old, in the rear view mirror or the side view mirror. He drove back, and the child got killed. And he lived with that for 30 years, with that guilt. So the consequences of our actions are not in our hands. We can be as careful as possible, as cautious as possible. The results of our actions is not in our hands. The more we expect, most definitely we will suffer. Focus on the process, not on the result. Enjoy what you have when you have. Live in the present, not in the past, not in the future. We always tend to live in the past or future. We don't live in the present. So, verse 48, second feature of Karma Yoga is Samatvam Yoga Vichyate, equanimity towards results of actions. Victory, defeat, pleasure, pain, honor, dishonor, appreciation, results, insult, all do not get elated and neither get depressed. Every action causes a bondage, meaning we humans have to come back, and the results of those actions, always we have to face it. So use the same actions as a karma yoga. We can use the same actions to release ourselves from these bondages by performing with karma yoga attitude. Just like we can use a thorn to remove the thorn, use the same. Now it's giving a summary of karma yoga. Right to perform, you have the right to perform, but not to the result. Equanimity of the results in karma yoga. Using the actions and karmas to liberate from bondage. The benefits are there are no failure in karma yoga. Every bit has a benefit. Helps you develop dispassion, helps purify your mind, the ability to discern the truth from appearance. You develop intense inquisitiveness, eagerness, deep curiosity to know the Supreme. These are glories of Karma Yoga. Verse 54, Arjuna is asking a question. Is there a person who has done Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, performed all his actions with this attitude, learned and realized itself? Krishna responds, verse 55, Stita Prajnan. That means realized person. Stita means firm, solid. Prajna means knowledge. How will he interact with the world? So Krishna's response is, we cannot identify or pinpoint such an individual. We can only relate when we are in that stage. He alone knows that he is a Stita Prajna. Such a person has no desires for worldly attractions. He is centered himself with absolute truth. He is happy within himself. 59 to 61, he says, one who is completely happy without being perturbed by anything that is happening around is Stita Prajna, a realized one. One doesn't seek another person to keep him engaged. One doesn't need anyone's support for mental peace. Any object to entertain, anyone to interact with. He is content with himself without a second entity. He is a realized person. He is not distracted, he is not divert, he is just be. We all need a TV or a phone or an iPad, someone to chat with, or phone. We always try to talk to somebody. We long for something. Even when during pandemic, we were all physically distanced, but we were not socially distanced. We could talk to anybody around the globe, but we still felt that I am constrained, right, people? So we felt bored. So throughout our life, entire life, we have strived to keep us happy. Are we contented? In spite of getting everything, we have so many friends, so many family members, so much of everything, 3 meals a day, roof overhead. Are we contented? No, because we are bound to the cycle of birth and death, the whirlpool of samsara. Liberation is not after death, it is here and now when we are alive. A French philosopher says all humanity's problems stem from a man's inability to sit quietly in a room. That's what Vedanta Upanishad teaches us, shows the path and methodology. Know thyself, then be firm in that self. 62 and 63 is important. It's called ladder of fall. When we keep thinking of something or someone constantly, consistently, we develop a desire. We want to possess it. We want to acquire it. We want to get it back. When someone is or something is an obstacle, then we get angry. Anger causes delusion, right? That is a cyclone in the mind. Yeah. So that intellect, it affects the intellect. Reasoning is lost. So when a danger is, and so that is why we have to be careful how we think. Thinking manasam vachikam kayikam. That is, thought takes you to the words, words takes you to the actions. If I'm angry, my words are going to be that expressing that. My actions are going to be expressing that. If I think positive, and my words will be kind, my actions will be kind. So we want to be very careful how we think. Instantly, verse 58, he says, when a danger is anticipated, a tortoise instantly pulls all the 4 feet and head inside the shell. Right? Similarly, a person of wisdom, Chitta Pragyan, pulls all his senses in. He is not drawn to any glamour. Just like we lock our doors and stay inside, he shuts himself from the worldly attractions and he is happy within. Just like a snake charmer who handles a dangerous snake in a tactful manner, twists and turns and makes it a garland, a Chitta Pragya handles all attractions and is never caught in by any of these things in the world. That is a person of steady wisdom. Whereas person metaphorically is compared to nocturnal, that is owl. Ignorance see the differences, meaning they sleep. We are all asleep. We don't know who I am. While Sthita Pragyan, realized one, he is awake, he sees only one. I alone is, I am the seer, nothing else. All things are, that's what they say. All these things that is happening around us, it's all Nataraja's dance, Krishna Leela. You are the only the seer. You are seeing the whole drama happening around you. But you get attached. The more you get attached, you go through sufferings and sorrows. Chitta Pragya is awake, seeing the only one, that is, he recognizes that one presence in all, he is fully awake while others are in dream. Vivekananda also in his speech, he said, arise and awake. His disciples were not sleeping. They were listening to his talk. He said, arise and awake, wake up everybody. That is, know yourself. So 64, he says, we use all the senses with a pure mind. 65, focus on that one self. Mind becomes calm when you focus on that one. Assert as you reject. So focus on that. That's the reflection. If the entire universe is in your mind. When you are in deep sleep, you don't see the universe at all. Only when you wake up. So the entire universe is reflection of your mind. That's why each one sees the world differently. We call it perception. Each mind is different. You alone is, nothing is yours. You own nothing. You have everything to enjoy, but you own nothing. I and mind creates bondage. You come naked, you go naked, you are the gardener of this kingdom. Be kind, compassionate, generate. What is my contribution to this universe? Think about it. How can I help? How can I give? That is the meaning of Akshaya Patra. Always, how can I give? How can I give? The more you give, the more you will get. Do your duty with Karma Yoga attitude. There I remember again, one person in my company years ago, he said, I'm going through a divorce. I need $500. I don't know what to do. So I immediately wrote a check and gave it to him. He said, are you sure, Vijay? Yes, sir, take it. And I went home and I have a check from my mortgage company. Last year you overpaid, so here is a $500. Check came back that same evening by mail. When you give, you will get back. But you don't think that I will get back, that is why I'm going to give. Not that intention. Because you are blessed, you have things, you have give whatever you can. Or you don't have to give finance, you don't have to give physical because you are old enough. Whatever it is, give good words. Be encouraging, supporting. That's all it matters. You can make a difference in somebody's life. So do your duty with Karma Yoga attitude to destroy the ego, I and mine. Only when you wake up, you realize all that you saw was a dream. Self is beyond waking state, dream state, the witness of both. That is what you are. Witness of all drama happening around you. Tatvam Asi, you are that. With that, he completes chapter 2. We see the slide and then discuss. What time is it? Not bad. We didn't. Shatkatriya, that means 6 chapters. First 1 through 6 is individuals, Jiva Swarupam. Then 7 to 12 is Ishvara Swarupam, the Supreme. 13 to 18 is both are one and the same. This is Karma Yoga, this is Bhakti Yoga, this is Jnana Yoga. We are in Karma Yoga, is chapter 6. Sankhya is number, logical step, and theory. Yoga is practice and union. Chapter 2, verse 7, Arjuna is surrendering. He's saying, Arjuna says, now I am confused about my duty. I'm your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Guru, two types. The Guru should be Swatranyan, Brahmanishtan, must have studied scriptures thoroughly. Parampara Guru, 3-generational Guru. Shankara's Guru was Govinda Bhagavatpada, his Guru was Gaudapada. Solidly grounded in that knowledge, lifestyle should depict what one teaches, walk the talk, practice what you teach. Otherwise, it becomes a preaching. My Guru is Acharya Mahadevji. I started with him in 1998. Then his gurus are these three. These three are Chinmayananda's Sishya disciples. Swami Ishwarananda, Swami Nikhilananda, Swami Guru Parananda. If I have any questions in my knowledge, I will call them. They are in India. I will call them. I will ask them. I'm not clear on this, and they will explain it to me over the phone. Then there's Chinmayananda's disciple. Chinmayananda is Shivananda Saraswati's disciple. So this is Atma example. See, we go to the beach and these kids, they make some castle here. There's a big castle. Another day, next day, third day, another child comes and makes a different castle, right? So this sand is ever present. Same thing, Atma is ever present, but we take different body and interact with the world. That is a symbolism. There's only Atma, nothing else. The body changes, mind changes, but Atman is infinity. You are the witness of all these changes. You can see the healthy body, you can see the unhealthy body, right? So you are the witness of all these changes. You ever exist, you are the existence, the isness. Everything seems to be in action. The world seems to be changing constantly because of the presence of the motionless, stationary Atman, just like the movement of this train. Change is ever constant, we say. Change is constant because something that is stationary is there. That is why you are able to see the change. Existence has no destruction at all. That which is has no non-existence. That which never exists has no existence. This is verse number 16. This is all appearances. They don't have a place of location. You can't say this is in India or this is in America or anything like that. There's no location. Rainbow, it's an appearance. The mirage is an appearance. Snake is an appearance. What is only rope. What is only Brahman. But we have different people. We see different things. What is only gold. But we have different names and forms. What is only Brahman, but we have different names. This is Chitra, that is Dan, that is Meena, that is Vijaya. Verse 23, Atma cannot be asked, burnt, wet, or dried. It is ever present, indestructible, undefinable. What is behind all this? That you cannot see, you cannot touch, you cannot taste. Electricity. If one equipment is not functioning, it means that it doesn't mean that electricity is not there. That body is not operating. That body is not functional. That's what it means. And they all have expiry date, just like our bodies. Death is not the end. It is a transition from one phase to the other. Death is not a destruction. Birth and death are for the body. You, Atma, is ever present. The extreme fear of death. Expect the difference, accept the difference. Humans carry grudges, negative experiences with them. My mother used to tell me, you cannot climb Mount Everest with all the negativities in your back. I used to say, my friend did this, she told me that, she told me that, all the bullies in school experiences, So she said, you cannot climb Mount Everest with those baggages, forget it. So we often think of the past and feel guilty, or think of the future and worry. All the what if scenarios. Accept wholeheartedly and then tolerate the differences. Inability to do that causes suffering, struggles, and sorrows. Moham is delusion, right appears wrong, wrong appears right. It's often with teenagers, you can see. It happens to us also. So, how to stop being judgmental? Do not judge anybody. We cannot change anybody. We don't want to. There's no need for that. Just observe your own path. Just you do the right thing at all times. That's all. Attitude, this is another one that we have time. We have another 10 minutes. There are 63 Nayanmars, that means realized masters in India. There were several, more than that actually. This is one group. And this person, he was a hunter. He used to hunt animals and then feed to God, because he had that feeling of karma yoga. Whatever I eat, I offer it to you. In my personal experience, I am diabetic for more than 20 years. So what I do is I offer only black coffee to God, like, every morning. I don't need to make any sweet for you. If it is not good for me, it is not good for you either. I will just offer you what I eat. That attitude. So he says he goes and he offers that. And then one time this one eye was bleeding. So what he did, he took out one of his eye and he put that on the linga. Don't know, there's a point. This one, I took it out and put it on the linga. Then the second eye started bleeding. He tried to take out the second eye, but then he can't see, right? So he put his foot there. And then he wanted to put that eye in that place where his foot is. That is bhakti. That he's saying, this is, I give you everything, whatever I have, whatever I do is all for you. That is one example. So that if we have that attitude, we can offer anything to God. Doesn't matter. Stand up for what is right, even if you're standing alone. You do your duty and leave everything to me. Atma is ever present, body is subject to destruction, inevitable. As a warrior, fighting is your duty. Swadharma, therefore, there is no need to be sorrowful, do your duty. You can shoot at the arrow. You have the right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. Inaction is not an option. You have the choice to perform. Same thing. You have the power to perform and not the results of the action. 47. Karmanye vadikaraste nam mafaleshu kadachana. We are the product of our choices. So anything that happens is all because of this. Here I just saw, hopefully if you can see this, if you can listen to this, raise your thumb so I know.
Hello, I'm Namanas. I make wooden boomerangs, which I sell on my webshop. And now I'm going to show you how it flies and returns.
It is karma yoga. Whatever you do, you will get back. Example of karma. Every circumstance in our lives, every characteristic, every habit, however much we now repudiate, it was something that we ourselves created, whether recently or in the distant past. Each one is due to our own misuse of our own free choice. God first bestowed on us. This is a philosopher who wrote, French philosopher. He lived in 1623 to 1662. All humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in the room. We can work for 13, 14 hours all day. We can plan for another 10 days. All the waking hours we can sit and plan. But we cannot sit quietly for 1 or 2 hours. Try that. Try that. Mind will go haywire. Spiritual path is a path less traveled and path less traveled. Upanishads are pointers. Humans need to make individual efforts. Karma yoga is the first step. So here Ramana says, let the body complete the task for which it came into being, like an actor playing in a part in a drama. So don't get attached to anything. This comes in Srimad Bhagavatam. The wise person is awake for which others are in dark. And when he is asleep, others are awake. But this is actually this sloka shouldn't be misunderstood that or understood that jnanis are awake at night and sleep during the day. Some people talk to me about this. They think like this and they tell me that. What is meant here is jnanis don't give credits to the worldly transactions. Whatever happens in their life, they are not affected by it. They are always to the fact that but the true nature, I am that. Their understanding about themselves is complete, due to which they don't have any wants to pursue. Any pursuit is based on the assertion or incompleteness, and the resultant searching is for something which will make one complete. So something I am incomplete, I need to get this, I need to do this, that is the thought. That is why we do all these things and then go through the suffering. A realized one is metaphorically compared to a tortoise or a snake charm. He has everything in his control and is not distracted by external situation. He is contented from within. This is example, the ignorance is the duality that the wise do not see. Advaita, that the wise see, the ignorance do not see. This is supposed to be a spiritual animal reflecting with that. This is the last one, 62 and 63 is a ladder of fall. Your thought creates desire because of attachment. Then you have anger, delusion, bewilderment, and ruin. Thought, word, and deed. With that, we complete this. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.